there lived a young woman named Anita. She was a soft-spoken, gentle soul, with eyes that held the secrets of a life full of hardship. For as long as she could remember, Anita had been a housemaid in the grand mansion of the wealthy Henderson family. The Hendersons were renowned in Willowdale, their names synonymous with power and prosperity. Mr. Robert Henderson was a formidable figure in the corporate world, while Mrs. Elizabeth Henderson was known for her extravagant charity galas that adorned the society pages. Their daughter, Emily, was the apple of their eye, a delicate young girl who had been battling a chronic kidney ailment since her birth. Anita, on the other hand, had known nothing but hardship in her life. She had been orphaned at a tender age and had found herself in the clutches of a cruel aunt who had sent her away to work as a housemaid. Her days were spent cleaning, cooking, and attending to the whims of her demanding employers. Her nights were filled with tears and dreams of a life she could never have. The Henderson mansion was a world of opulence and extravagance. Crystal chandeliers adorned the ceilings, Persian rugs adorned the floors, and priceless artwork hung on the walls. The mansion was a world of its own, and Anita was like a shadow in it, quietly moving from one room to another, making sure everything was in perfect order. Emily, the Hendersons' daughter, was the only person who treated Anita with any semblance of kindness. She would often sneak into the kitchen and chat with Anita while she worked. One fateful day, as Anita was preparing dinner, Emily entered the kitchen, her eyes filled with worry, sobbing and crying. "I heard my parents talking. My condition is getting worse. The doctors say I need a kidney transplant, but there's no one in our family who's a match." Anita stopped what she was doing and looked at Emily with deep concern. She had never seen the young girl so distressed. "I'm so sorry to hear that, Miss Emily," she said softly. "I wish there was something I could do to help." But as she looked into Emily's pleading eyes, something stirred within her. It was a deep well of compassion and empathy that had been buried under years of hardship. "I don't know if I'm a match, Miss Emily," Anita replied, "but if it means saving your life, I'm willing to find out." And so, the journey began. Tests were conducted, and it was confirmed that Anita was a suitable match for Emily. The transplant was scheduled, and Anita found herself facing the daunting prospect of undergoing major surgery. She had never been so afraid in her life, but she was determined to see it through for Emily's sake. As the day of the surgery approached, Anita's anxiety grew. She couldn't help but wonder if the Hendersons truly appreciated the sacrifice she was making. On the day of the surgery, Anita sat on the hospital bed, her heart pounding in her chest. Emily was in the room next door, prepared for the transplant. Anita couldn't help but think about her own future. She had no family, no savings, and no safety net. If something were to go wrong with the surgery, what would become of her? Mrs. Henderson entered the room, her face a mask of concern. "Anita," she said in a voice that held a rare note of sincerity, "we can't thank you enough for what you're doing for Emily. You're a true lifesaver. I just want Miss Emily to have a chance at a healthy life, ma'am." It was time as the doctors came in for the surgery. The surgery was a success, and as Anita recovered in her hospital bed, she couldn't help but notice the change in the Henderson family. They visited her regularly, bringing flowers and gifts and expressing their gratitude. For the first time, Anita felt like more than just a servant. She felt like a part of their family, at least for a brief moment. Months passed, and Anita returned to her duties at the Henderson mansion. She still carried the scars of the surgery on her abdomen, a constant reminder of the sacrifice she had made. Emily, however, was thriving. Her health had improved dramatically after the transplant, and she was no longer the frail, sickly girl Anita had known. One evening, as Anita was tidying up the living room, Emily approached her with a shy smile. "Anita," she said, "I wanted to thank you for what you did for me. You saved my life, and I'll never forget it." "You don't need to thank me, Miss Emily. I did it because I care about you," Anita said as they both got on with her class assignment. But Emily wasn't finished. "I also wanted to give you something." She handed Anita a small box wrapped and decorated with red ribbon. Inside the envelope was a letter, and when Anita unfolded it, she realized it was a scholarship offer from a prestigious university. Anita couldn't believe her eyes. The scholarship covered tuition, room, and board, and it was an opportunity she had never dared to dream of. Emily's parents had agreed to sponsor her education. They realized the incredible sacrifice she made for Emily, and they want to make sure she has a chance at a better life. Anita was overwhelmed with gratitude. She had never imagined that her life could take such a turn. With the Hendersons' support, she enrolled in university, determined to make the most of this opportunity. As the years went by, Anita excelled in her studies. She was no longer a housemaid. She was a student, a scholar, and a young woman with dreams of her own. She majored in nursing, inspired by her own experience with the medical world, and she was determined to give back to others as she had been given a second chance at life. During her time at university, Anita reconnected with Emily, who had also chosen to pursue a career in medicine. The two women became close friends, bonded by the extraordinary experience they had shared. Anita knew that her decision to donate her kidney had not only saved a life but had also transformed her own. Upon graduating, Anita became a dedicated nurse, working tirelessly to care for those in need. She found fulfillment in her work, knowing that she was making a difference in the lives of her patients, just as she had in Emily's life. Emily, too, excelled in her medical career. She specialized in nephrology, the study of kidneys, driven by her own experiences with kidney disease. Together, Anita and Emily worked on research projects and volunteered at kidney disease awareness events, determined to raise awareness and support for those in need of transplants. Years passed, and Emily's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Henderson, continued to support Anita and Emily's efforts in every way possible. They had learned the true meaning of compassion and selflessness from Anita's sacrifice, and they had become active advocates for organ donation and healthcare reform. In time, the Hendersons' mansion became a place of warmth and generosity, hosting charity events not just for show but with a genuine desire to help those less fortunate. Anita remained a part of their lives, not as a servant, but as a cherished friend and family member. One day, as Anita stood in the lush gardens of the Henderson estate, she couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought her here. From a maltreated housemaid to a nursing scholar and advocate for organ donation, her life had been transformed by a single act of selflessness. The legend of Anita, the housemaid with a heart of gold, continued to spread far and wide. Her story of sacrifice and the transformation of the Henderson family had a profound impact on the community of Willowdale and beyond.